For nearly 40 years, Oprah Winfrey and Stedman Graham have been one of the most enduring couples in the public eye. For two people who have been together since 1986, you almost never see them walking a red carpet together, giving interviews together, or constantly posting about their relationship. In fact, their latest public appearance together made headlines precisely because it was so unusual. So why does Oprah, one of the most recognizable women on the planet, keep one of the most important relationships in her life so private? Is there trouble behind the scenes? Did they quietly separate? Or is there actually a much more deliberate reason why Oprah and Stedman rarely appear together? The answer is surprisingly different from what many people might expect. And once you understand how Oprah views their relationship, their unusual approach to love starts to make a lot more sense. Let's start with the timeline. Oprah Winfrey and Stedman Graham met in 1986. The same year, the Oprah Winfrey Show launched nationally. That means their relationship has existed alongside virtually the entire rise of Oprah's media empire. They have experienced decades of fame, enormous professional success, intense media attention, and countless public conversations about their private lives. Yet Stedman never became a celebrity in quite the same way Oprah did. And that's important. Graham has built his own career as an author, educator, businessman, and public speaker. He isn't simply known as Oprah's boyfriend. That separation of identities appears to be one of the things that has helped their relationship survive for so long. Oprah has repeatedly described Graham as someone who has his own identity, purpose, and ambitions. And rather than trying to turn their relationship into a public spectacle, the two have largely kept it away from the cameras. That's why seeing them together can feel like a major event. In August 2026, Oprah and Stedman made a rare joint public appearance at a reunion celebrating a former staff of the Oprah Winfrey Show in Chicago. The appearance was particularly notable because it was the couple's first public appearance together since 2019. And suddenly, a question that has followed them for years came back into the spotlight. Why do they rarely appear together? One of the biggest mistakes people can make when looking at celebrity relationships is assuming that visibility equals closeness. For Oprah and Stedman, it clearly doesn't. Their relationship has survived for decades without requiring constant public confirmation. They don't need to be photographed together every week for the world to know they're together. And Oprah has been remarkably open about how unconventional their relationship is. In fact, she has used the term spiritual partnership to describe what they have. The idea is essentially that two people can be deeply committed to each other's growth without necessarily following every traditional expectation placed on couples. That distinction is extremely important because Oprah and Stedman's relationship doesn't seem to be built around proving something to the public. It's built around allowing each person to remain an individual. And that explains why you don't see Stedman constantly standing beside Oprah at every major event. For Oprah, privacy isn't necessarily a sign that something is wrong. It may actually be part of what has allowed their relationship to work. Now we get to one of the most fascinating parts of their story. Oprah and Stedman were actually engaged. Stedman proposed in the early 1990s, and for a moment, marriage seemed like it could be the next step. But it never happened. And Oprah eventually explained why.
I think that had we gotten married, we probably would have been divorced by now. He would agree because I really am my own woman. And, being married calls for some conformity.
Years later, Oprah explained that she believed marriage would have required her to fit into traditional roles that didn't work for the life she wanted. She even said that she and Stedman agreed that if they had married, they might not still be together today. That's a remarkable statement, because most people assume marriage is what makes a long-term relationship stronger. Oprah came to the opposite conclusion. For her, maintaining independence was part of maintaining the relationship. And this brings us back to why they rarely appear together. Their relationship doesn't seem to depend on following the traditional celebrity couple formula. No constant red carpets. No need to publicly prove their commitment. No requirement that one person's identity completely merge with the other's. There's another major factor, Oprah's career. Think about the level of attention surrounding her. For decades, millions of people watch her discuss other people's marriages, families, struggles, and personal lives. But when it came to her own relationship, she often maintained a very different boundary. Her career demanded an extraordinary amount of time and energy, and Oprah has acknowledged that her work was a major priority. In discussing why she never married, she explained that she didn't want the sacrifices and compromises she associated with marriage at that stage of her life. That doesn't necessarily mean she didn't value partnership. Quite the opposite. She and Stedman found a structure that worked for them. And that structure included allowing each person to maintain a life beyond a relationship. This is particularly significant because celebrity relationships often become part of the celebrity's brand. For Oprah, however, Stedman has largely remained outside that machine. He's not presented as a permanent accessory to Oprah Winfrey. He's Stedman Graham, and Oprah is Oprah. That distinction may be one of the reasons their relationship has endured. Another interesting thing about Stedman is that he has never appeared to need Oprah's spotlight to establish his own identity. That's unusual in Hollywood. When one person in a relationship is enormously more famous, the less famous partner can easily become known almost entirely through the relationship. But Stedman has pursued his own professional interests, and Oprah has reportedly admired that independence. In her writing about their relationship, she praised his personality and described him as steady, patient, trustworthy, and supportive. She also emphasized the importance of each person having their own purpose. That gives us another clue. Maybe the reason we don't see them together constantly isn't because they are distant. Maybe it's because they don't feel the need to make their relationship the center of everything. So, why do Oprah Winfrey and Stedman Graham rarely appear together? The answer doesn't appear to be a secret breakup or hidden feud. It's something much more straightforward: privacy, independence, and choice. Oprah has built a life where almost everything she does can become public conversation. But her relationship with Stedman has remained one of the few areas where she has maintained a strong boundary. They don't appear together constantly. They don't need to. They don't have to prove their relationship with photographs, interviews, or red carpet appearances. And perhaps the most interesting part of their story is that Oprah believes their relationship may have survived precisely because they refused to force it into a traditional mold. After nearly 40 years together, their story offers a fascinating reminder. Sometimes the strongest relationships aren't necessarily the ones we see the most. They're the ones that don't need an audience. And when Oprah and Stedman finally do step out together, people pay attention.